Skyewise Group, a leading global enterprise that delivers a broad range of services across investment, credit management, real estate, automobiles, logistics, oil and gas, and more, held the third edition of its annual summit, Meet the CEOs. The summit, which had in attendance leaders from various sectors, was held at the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Center in Abuja. Dr. Elvis Abuyere, who's the MD CEO of the Skyewise Group, stressed that the platform is intended to raise a new generation of open-minded and highly motivated young men and women who will lead the change in ensuring Nigeria and its foreign allies see this nation from a uniquely positive perspective.
My message to them this afternoon and today is that a new Nigeria is built and the future of Africa is entrepreneurship. And we are passing the message that do not wait for the government anymore. Look within you for national transformation, because every idea that was stood the test of time actually was formed from within individuals. So every young Nigeria out there, look within you for something you can create for your society, your community, and for national transformation. And I'm challenging you that do not limit yourself. There's so much inside of you that you can give back to society, and before you know it, the world will come looking for you. We have so much challenges, and we're just trying to fend for ourselves. And I realize that now that I have a little opportunity within myself, why can't I just inspire as many as I can for them to stand on their feet? Because the Nigerian government are doing so much, but they can't probably leave everything on them. So we as an individual, like the saying goes, charity begins at home. And I've said time and again that national economic transformation is no longer what we demand from the government, it's what we demand from ourselves as a citizen of this great country. So if we can look within us, just unveil something within us, definitely going to go places. And that was what inspired me for this meeting the CEO. And this is the third edition, and we're looking forward to the next year edition, 2024.
Number one, if you're going to unleash the power within you, accept who you are and know who you are. Because that's what will help you to then know, I reduce this, I increase this. I reduce this, I increase this. Right? Because I understand the true energy at work in my life. Number two, it's important to follow those who are where you want to go. Follow the seminar, buy the books, attend the event. Coming for this event, I want you to clap for yourself. Just everybody, come on. Everybody in the room, clap for yourself for coming. Because that you're already doing. Number two, follow. I'm sure some of you came because of some of the great speakers speaking at this event. Some of you, maybe you came because of me, that you heard I was speaking here. Some of you came because of the convener of this event. You love him and you want to learn from him. That's the right move. Follow person we know road.
A panel session which was moderated by renowned broadcast journalist Seun Okinbaloye took place. Members of the panel shared their experiences on how they started their businesses, the challenges they encountered, and how they were able to surmount them.
I've been in business for 24 years. I came into Abuja in 1999 when I finished, 97 when I finished my youth service. I came into town. I had aspirations to be a lawyer. The reason why you're here is in this story. Because there's so many young women, if you're on social media, you see what a lot of young women put out there in the name of being relevant. I run a mentorship program because of my experience called BABE, redefining who a babe is.
I grew up in a house where, we had everything provided for us. My dad used to work in an oil company. Then he died at 10. So we're comfortable, a family of 3, went to decent schools, and all of a sudden when he died, everything changed. So we had to leave the house we lived in and had to move into a one-room. It's a Face Me, I Face You in Molite, Ibadan.
I grew up as a refugee, experienced 3 civil wars as a kid. So I spent my childhood moving from one country to another and seeing people die, get shot at, and so all of those things. So I was a firstborn girl child in a racial marriage where my mom is African, my dad is Lebanese. So it was crazy. Like there were moments where I saw them tell my dad that he's working with like people from overseas that are trying to cause the war and they want to kill him. So growing up as a young girl child, having to be in those moments for me were like very crazy. So I had to grow strength and courage.
That time, I remember going through school. There was nothing I didn't sell in school. I sold lab coats. I wrote a book. I sold even Toad, right, just to make ends meet. And then, just while I was graduating, I learned about freelancing, where I applied my skill of copywriting. I started writing for foreign clients on Fiverr, on Upwork.
But how to channel that hunger into something that's going to be more productive and value creation is what I actually have to work out for. Then I just put down my resignation letter. I said I want to do something for myself. So, and I left the banking sector and I was asking myself, what can I do? Knowing the fact that I've discovered the financial gap in the system. So I said, call my lawyer. I said, you know what, I want to have a microfinance bank whereby I can be reach the rural areas in terms of rendering financial support. And he told me then the amount to start up a microfinance bank was minimum capital base of 20 million naira, which I did not have as at then. So I said, okay, I opted for cooperative. I just want to add value in the financial sector, and that was what inspires me to start up Skyewise.
I feel like a lot of young people can relate to my story better. This is someone who has gone from being an employee in one of the biggest telco in Nigeria to becoming a client. So what inspired me into the world of media and PR? I've always had the penchant for writing since I was a little girl. I've always been a very restless kid. From secondary school, I would lead debates, right? And so I know that so many people seeing me now are not surprised that I have, become this.
It is expected that the quality of discourse which took place at the summit will prepare young and potential entrepreneurs to broader spectrum in their business endeavors.
By my training, if you were there, by my birth, training, exposure, I'm an entrepreneur myself. So my entrepreneurial skills were just being kept. And like we've learned today, being an entrepreneur is not until you buy and sell. It is that you have the character, you can, whatever service you have, you've heard them say that, it is to expose your capacity. And I'm a civil servant, I'm retired, I love the civil service, okay? But I am busier now. My family is like, what's going on? I'm busier now. In fact, tomorrow I'll be in Lagos delivering a speech. I'm being paid for it. Okay, so I'm traveling. I went to Lagos, I did that, and came back, and I'm here now, and I'm going to Lagos, and I come back. I'm traveling out of the country. So you can make the best out of what you've got.
My message to Nigerian youths is to not relocate and let's make Nigeria work. I know that there are a lot of problems or challenges, but where there are problems, also there are opportunities. I strongly advocate that instead of moving out of the country en masse, that we should look at what we can do here, find solutions to our problems, and then we can help make this country great again. That would be my advice to the Nigerian youths.
My major push in life has always been the fact that I know I wanted to stay alive. I wanted to succeed at whatever my life purpose was. Even though I didn't know when I was a young child what my life purpose was, it took me in my 30s during COVID lockdown to realize what my life purpose was. For a lot of people, they just go on living, and I was just one of those people, but I still knew that there was something out there for me. So my motivation was to just make sure that whatever that is my purpose, or whatever that keeps me going, or that I'm put on earth to do, has to be done right. But I cannot do it if I'm not healthy, if my mind is not trained, if it's not educated, if I'm not experienced, if I'm not working, if I'm not investing in myself. I can't do any of those things or achieve my life purpose or my life's goal. So that's like my biggest motivation. You have to always have your purpose. When you find your purpose in life, then you have a plan. So you have to draw up a vision board. That vision board is where your plan is for your purpose that you've discovered in life and the goal that you want to achieve. So when you have those things, you're now going to sit down and start working strategically. That word is important because when you work strategically to get to your goal is what makes you achieve it. So everything else, all the other spices that you're adding in your stew is what? By being strategic to achieve your goal. So a lot of people just wake up and say, oh, because someone is doing something, so I want to do it. No, be strategic. If somebody is doing something, find out what is it that person is doing right, that they're getting it right? When you find out, what can I do to spice it up, to make it extra spicy, then people might also want me even more than they want that person for that thing, or my business or whatever idea, whatever product you're selling. You always have to find a solution. When you find a solution to a problem, then you are an entrepreneur, you are ready for business.
Two things. I would say I'm a maximizer of voices. And I think that when you maximize voices, you also empower the people without voices to bring expression to their talents and to their skills. And I think entrepreneurship runs across different sectors. So you have mediapreneurs, you have social entrepreneurs, you have business entrepreneurs. So there are different categories of enterprise. But I think one of the most important thing I can say, going by what I learned and I heard today, is that you have the capacity to say no to what you don't want, so that the things you need can be frontlined. And I think that's where people need to start looking at what works for them as an entrepreneur. And I must say that I am really fascinated by the array of speakers that I was able to listen to today. I listened to Dr. Elvis. I listened to, the lady who talked about her enterprise Okoto. I listened to Juliet Ibrahim, refreshing. I never knew that she went through that process of, crisis to become. And so the power of becoming was shared in this conversation. And I think that for every entrepreneur, the power of becoming is so important so that you have the ability to sustain your capacity.
Well, the truth of the matter is that some people are called to entrepreneurship. Some are called to intrapreneurship. But the point is, whatever your call is, whether it's social enterprise, you must ensure that you go through process and don't jump the process. You must make sure that while the process is going on, you are learning and growing and advancing and relearning and rebuilding until you optimize. When you get optimized, the world will listen to you. When your ideas mature, because you have allowed time to happen to it, the world will listen to you. And so what I'm saying is that every young person, just be a leader entrepreneur. Just be an entrepreneurial leader. Just be an intrapreneurial leader. If you're working for somebody, you have to become an entrepreneur working for somebody. Become the owner of that business as a result of your dedication and time. The world is looking for people who can serve.
You can actually, have a 9 to 5 and still contribute to the growth of the country in, the way you discharge your duties or you go about your duties, so that's important. But having said that, I've entered into entrepreneurship out of my passion to tell stories. And that's how I started. I just really wanted to tell stories about young people who were doing exceptionally well. I felt that there needed to be a spotlight on them, and that's what gave birth to my baby, Savvy Magazine, which is then evolved into a full media company offering, PR services, content production, publication, and the rest, they say, is history. Yeah. Okay, at the end of the day, be true to yourself. Know your why. Your why is very important. Your why actually would shape your life. Like I said earlier, on the stage, know your why, know your vision. Some people are not caught out for entrepreneurship. It's fine, but while you're at your 9 to 5, make sure that you are contributing, towards the big objective, which is your why. And if you want to go into entrepreneurship, your 9 to 5, you want to go into entrepreneurship, which is a story that I can actually relate to, because I wanted to do business. I was passionate about my business, but I didn't have the capital for it, so I had to venture into 9 to 5. So if you are in that position, like I said, look, we did.
What we are saying in this conference, in this summit, is that the more you focus on the problem, have a solution approach to it, rather than just be a complainer, be a solution provider. It's as simple as that. Nigerians' problems, whatever it is right now, has the capacity to create as much employment as possible, rather than just looking for go to school, come back out of school, and then join the team in on unemployed youth. Get out there. There's too much for you to do. And then now that you have the energy, go all out for it.
And as part of efforts to keep young entrepreneurs motivated, a grant of 1 million naira was awarded to one young entrepreneur, and the sum of 250,000 naira was awarded to 4 others.